I'm Deion Imade, and this week on the Yo Poke Show, Clint and I talk to our College Football Hall of Famer. That's right, Justin Blackmon joins us to talk about the College Football Hall of Fame and so much more. All that here on the Yo Poke Show. Welcome to the Old Poke Show. This is the show where we talk to Cowboy legends from the past and the present and review the OSU program going into the future. I'm your host, Deion Imade, alongside my man himself, Clint Chelf, number 10. What's up, baby?
College football is over, man. It's a dark time in life right now. We're still holding on to the NFL playoffs starting, but you know it's always sad, man. You get through the holidays,
yeah.
You get through the start of the year. You're like, man, I got to put all the Christmas stuff up. I got to do this, that, and the other. And then college football ends, and it's like another thing piling on top of you. So, man, I've had better days, but
they should call it Bittersweet Monday.
Yeah. Instead of Black Monday for the all the coaches getting fired in the NFL. Yeah, Bittersweet Monday.
Bittersweet Monday.
No, man, I'm doing well. How are you doing? I know you're getting over a little bit of an illness, so
yeah.
I won't be the only one coughing on the show tonight. Hopefully,
yeah. I guess I'll do the Clint Chelf forewarning for everybody and the listeners. Man, I did catch a little bit of a bug this weekend, so I am going through it a little bit. So bear with me as I get through some of this stuff, because bro, that thing knocked your boy out. Clint knocked me out.
Yeah, just wait till you have kids, man. You just get it. It's just a weekly thing. You just, it's something, and you just keep going through it. But man, I am very excited for this guest today. I know you are as well. When you say talk to legends from the past, this guy is as a Mount Rushmore level legend.
Yeah,
big news for him. So I'm excited to talk to him. I don't know what else you need to say about him, but I'll let you have the floor a little bit. We
might as well go ahead and give him that good old introduction. How about we do it, Clint?
Let's do it.
From Ardmore, Oklahoma, number 81, Justin Blackmon, newly Hall of Fame member. What's up, baby?
What's going on, fellas?
Man, thank you so much for coming on. 2024 College Football Hall of Fame inductee Justin Blackmon. How does that sound to you?
Man, it's crazy. Like I said, it's just, it's crazy. I never thought it would go this far.
That's what kind of my first question was, because obviously we all have dreams of playing big time college football when you're young, playing at the NFL, maybe whatever it is. When you were growing up as a kid, did you ever dream of being able to make it that far?
I wanted to go pro in something. I didn't know what it was back when I was little. Football was actually the last sport I ever played, so started playing. So it was kind of the best options I had. So it just kind of worked out the right way.
I feel you on that, man. So I gotta ask this, and I know you don't like to go into details too much, but kind of put the viewers and the listeners in your presence. How did the whole call go? Like, how did it work up? When were you first informed that this was an option, or were you on the ballot? Like, how did it all go?
So last year I knew I was on last year's ballot, and Gavin would kind of hit me up and let me know about that. I didn't even know it was something going on this year, because he ain't said nothing about it, and I haven't spoken with him in a while. And then, was it yesterday? Yesterday morning, I get a text from Chad, the OSU AD, and he was like, "Congratulations!" He was like, "on All-American." I was like, "Wow, I didn't even know." He was like, "Nobody told you?" I was like, "Nah." I was like, "No."
Wait, so the first person who informed was the athletic director, Chad Weiberg?
Yeah, he texted me like 8 o'clock in the morning yesterday. And was just like, "Yeah, congratulations." I was like, "Well, I didn't know. Like, this is news to me."
Man, that's awesome. First ballot Hall of Famer. And I just want to kind of go through some of these names that you're going in with, because, as far as I'm concerned, this will be the greatest class of wide receivers to ever go into the Hall of Fame together. And for the listeners out there that don't know, it's going to be JB, At receiver, just only Larry Fitzgerald, Randy Moss. What's it? Well, I guess what's your first initial thought reaction going in with guys like that?
Well, first of all, legends, like I said, those are people I looked up to. Especially, I mean, even going through the NFL and everything, those were people I was looking up to all the way through that. And just a little tidbit, Coach Brewer coached me and Randy Moss, so 2 out of the 3 when he was at Marshall.
That's
yeah, so it must be Brewer, man. There's something in the water.
You know who else Brewer recruited? Your boy. And I didn't go to the Hall of
Fame. hey, Brewer's got a long list of people, man, that he's done recruited, man. I'm surprised he hasn't made a shirt that was like, "These are my guys."
Yeah,
it's a long list of guys.
Just some other guys, Deion, before you go ahead to highlight the rest of this class. Work done. Toby Gerhardt, Julius Peppers, Paul Posluszny, who you played with in Jacksonville, correct?
Right.
Alex Smith, Dewey Selman from Oklahoma, Danny Woodhead. I mean, just an all-time class. So, again, congratulations. Also, the 6th player from Oklahoma State to be inducted alongside Bob Finnemore, Thurman Thomas, Barry Sanders, Terry Miller, Leslie O'Neal. So, when you go – anytime your name is in the same sentence as a lot of those guys, you're a legend. So, hats off to you, JB.
Man, I appreciate it. And I don't want it to be mostly centered on me, man. How that team worked back in the day, man. We would have been – it wasn't just one person out there doing it. I wouldn't be here without the coaches, especially, Glass out there that was working with us. The people in the academic center, the people in the training room that got us ready to go every day. Scott, my dude, in the training room. But it was a team. It was a village out there working together, and that's what happened.
Man, with you saying that, it kind of takes you back to the very beginning. And when I bet you if I could go down the list of these guys, Larry Fitzgerald, Randy Moss, Work Done, Toby Gerhardt, all those guys, if I could sit them in a room and ask them, when you were first playing football at the earliest age, was your ultimate goal to be a Hall of Famer? I bet you all those guys would say no. Like, I feel like that's not an actual goal that anybody ever writes down.
Well, I guess it's kind of like one of the things. I guess when you're playing, you don't even think about it.
Yeah.
You want to be, I guess, remembered or something. But like I said, this is 13 years since the last time I was on campus was 2011, and it's 2024. And, so it's so far down the road even before you get things like that. And so, my whole goal was just to win. Winning's fun to me.
Yeah.
And and whatever comes after that, it's just icing on the cake.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to dream. I guess the best way to say would be for something for yourself, right? I mean, when you're young, you dream of winning a Super Bowl, or I guess probably some people dream of winning a Heisman, but you always just want to be at the pinnacle. So, got to give a shout out.
You want the Heisman, but I mean, if you go into the football season thinking, "Oh, I'm going for that Heisman,"
right.
Probably ain't gonna work out too well.
Nah.
Yeah, and you're probably not in the right mindset as a player. You know what I mean? If you're thinking of me, stuff like that. But probably a good time to shout out our good friend Brandon Whedon. You two kind of peanut butter and jelly together. Obviously, you made him a great quarterback, and not the other way around. Shout out to my guy. Just kidding. But
I got upset many times, man. Brandon's best quarterback. He should have went higher than the rest of them. He was the best quarterback in that draft class.
So, I mean, the the overarching question I'm sure that everybody wants to hear from you about is, and I know it's kind of loaded, but like, what does it mean to be a college football Hall of Famer? Like, I don't know how you put that into words, but I mean, if you could sum it up, like, what does it actually mean?
I mean, I haven't thought about it really, I guess, too much from yesterday and today, but I guess my name's gonna be somewhere, where people just gonna remember it. So, I don't know if they got like the obviously they're not doing, heads like the Hall of Fame of the NFL or whatever, but I mean, I think they got something where my name might be, in the stone. So it's something, just be there. So I'm just happy that, my name will be there.
I think a good place that it's going to be is that Ring of Honor with Barry and Thurman and those guys up there. And you talking about that kind of put something into perspective for me. It's like you're going to be viewed, and I don't know if this probably hasn't set in to you, in the next 10 years, the next generation, a lot probably similarly to the way that we all, viewed Barry Sanders' name growing up. I mean, I think if you look down the line, Oklahoma State will have the best running back of all time and arguably the best receiver of all time. And that's going to be something that, probably hasn't set in for you yet, but when listening to your talk, it's like, that's how a generation will probably view you, and that's where your name will probably be.
Man, like I said, I mean, that would be an honor to be up there. I don't think anybody's going to be not thinking about Barry ever with this greatness. But just to be mentioned it with them, I mean, is just great alone.
Let me ask you this: so it's going to be a ceremony. You're going to have to get a suit. What look are we going to go with? Are we going to go with like the 2004 LeBron James baggy look? Are we going to go nice and tight? You going to cut the dreads? What are you going to do?
Nah, man. Y'all think I just don't be having no suits or nothing? Man, I was dressed up underneath my sweatshirt at the thing. I had a button up on. I was good. It was just raining when I showed up. I showed up a lot later than most people. But no, I got suits, man. It'd be
I know you got them.
Color.
Solid, okay.
It'd just be a solid plain color in a black shirt or a white shirt, no tie. That's not me. Top button, unbuttoned.
Speaking of the event, man, I mean, I know it's a little bit of a long ways away, but what most are you looking forward to being a part of a ceremony like that?
Boy, well, ceremonies like that, and you see how many names is on it, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be long.
Lots of speeches, man. Lots of speeches.
It's gonna be long. And then that's another thing, the old speech.
Yeah.
All I can say is thank you to Oklahoma State. I'm good. I'm out.
So nobody's gonna get that individual thank you. You're just gonna be like, thanks to the Pokes. I'm out.
Obviously, my family, like I said, I mean, it was. I mean, if you look at even I got a thank you from one of the ladies from the academic center, Amy Randolph, and she was like, "Congratulations, whatever." And I was like, "Well, thank you. I wouldn't have been able to keep going if you wasn't pushing me in the classroom because I wouldn't have been able to do that. No, you were smart enough. You would have did it on your own." It was like, "Nah, I couldn't do it on my own. There was steps to everything. There was everybody played a part. Like I said, everybody played a part, little or small, but all the I mean, like even look at the jump from that year. The year before I won the first Biletnikoff, and the year I won the Biletnikoff, there was just a big jump right there. It was like the stars aligned, and it was like everybody had a hand in it. It wasn't. That's why I say it was like if I could do it on my own, I would have been doing it. Yeah. And that wasn't the case. So I mean, it was something that happened. I don't know. That's why I said. I mean, there's probably way too many people to thank, and then I'll leave one person off, and they'll be pissed off. So that's why I just say everybody at Oklahoma State.
Shout out to Amy. She was a great facilitator. Me and JB were the only one of the few football players that had her as a facilitator, because the basketball players had her running gun. So they trusted us to not give her too many problems. So shout out to Amy.
Boy,
she was great.
The reason I got her was because I was giving people problems. Yeah, so that's what I said.
So with that being said, man, I know you don't like to go into too much detail about this sentimental stuff, but one of these days, somebody's going to be like kids do now, go on YouTube and look up these, great players from the past and watch their game tape and see things that they say or did or do. And they're going to look up this and talk about Justin Blackmon as a college football Hall of Famer, and they're going to wonder how did he get to that point, or what were some of the words of wisdom that he passed on to the next generation that allowed him to be great and reach that pinnacle. If you had a couple of words of wisdoms to pass on to that kid or to that next generation, what would it be?
Be comfortable being uncomfortable. Because it ain't gonna be easy. Most of the time, especially so I'm from a small town down here, and a lot of the kids that end up going to school end up coming back home within 1 year, because it'd be like, oh, it's so far away, oh, I didn't know, My parents moved to South Carolina. I didn't have no home to come back to my freshman year, or else I probably would have came home too. I was living in Stillwater year round. So it was like one of them things. It'd be like, all right, just fall into it. All right, I'm here. You might as well start meeting some people, hanging out with some people, get your connections. But because I wasn't one of them people that just randomly talk to people. I mean, you probably wouldn't know that by the time y'all got there. I wasn't just, it just came in to be like, well, shoot, I got to do something. So you might as well talk and connect with people, figure out things. Now I'm like a people watcher, or I might ask you a random question out of nowhere. You'd be like, what is he talking about? So it's just like get out of that uncomfortableness and settle in. And then like I said, it's not going to be easy. It's hard work. It is football at the end of the day. So I don't know. That's why I say I can't be around these little. Well, I'm not even gonna get into it. These soft little kids that be out here, be quitting and everything. It'd be like, yeah, don't quit just because you ain't playing. Get on the field somewhere. I was on the front line of kickoff all the way down. That's how I first stepped on the field. Front line of the kick. What can I do to get on there? Let's go. So special teams, and then you slowly move yourself in.
Yeah, man, that's a bar, because that can help you on and off the field. Just finding ways to just don't settle for just sitting in one place, man. Put yourself out there, on and off the field. That's great, JB.
Yes, sir.
Did you switching gears a little bit? Did you get to follow this year's team at all? And what did you think of Presley and Leon Johnson and Rashad Owens and the receiving crew that had some really big plays this year, showed out in the bowl game specifically? But Presley, an Oklahoma kid like yourself,
man. Well, we always knew what Presley was. I think it was just more getting him the ball, and obviously later in the season they ended up doing it. Obviously Leon did really good showing up, 17. He's a big kid. He looks big. I don't know how big he is, but
he's like 6'5".
Yeah, he looks real big on TV. And then Owens. Well, everybody used to think I was big for some reason, and it was like, nah, I'm 6'1". Well, you look so much bigger on TV. Be like, nah, everybody else is small.
DBs, man, they're little.
Yeah, them little babies. Them little babies out there. But then Owens, man, that's what it looked like, man. If we would have had him all season, it'd be like, golly, because I don't know if that was just a one game off at the end where he was just like, I'm leaving it all out here on the field, bowl game, whatever. But that boy can go up there and get that ball.
He ball, he had a good game against OU, balled out in the bowl game, but it would have been nice to see a little bit more consistency there. Hopefully that's the case.
Yeah.
With him, if he decides to come back, that'd be nice. Maybe we need to link JB and Rashad Owens up, and maybe we can get him to come back.
Man, I ain't paying.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I'm not either.
You gotta earn that. You gotta earn that paycheck. That's a whole nother conversation about leaving. What is he gonna transfer or?
No, he's still undecided. He has a couple more.
Still decided he could go to the league. He could transfer.
Okay,
he could come back. So.
Oh, come on back. Oh, come on back, Owens, man. We can use you. You got your quarterback. His fade ball looks a lot better at the end. Remember what we talked about last time I was on here?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that thing got sharpened up.
I think it might. Well, I mean, yeah, I was about to say his fade ball looked a lot better. Maybe it's because they was catching it. I don't know, but it definitely the last game definitely looked really good, really good.
Man, that's Deion. If you got anything else, that's all. I wanted to get his take on before we let him get out of here. This year's team and that receiving crew. So I'm glad we did that. JB, as always, man, appreciate it. Thanks for coming on. College football royalty right there. So enjoy it, man. Enjoy it with your family.
Oh yeah, we'll do. Appreciate y'all for having me.
Man, congratulations, Black.
Hey, appreciate it, boss. Y'all take it easy. Hey, get ready for that Legends golf, baby.
Yeah, baby. I'm out there.
I talked to Coop last night. I told him to clear out the weekend because we gonna bombard Stillwater for that whole weekend, baby.
I'm practicing as we speak, man. I'm practicing.
Deion's getting deep in the game, man. He's gonna show up looking like
a
tiger.
I got new gloves. I'm about to get new clubs and everything.
Come on. You know you're in the business when you go out and get the shoes. See, I haven't stepped up and got the shoes yet, but I know once I buy shoes, that means I got to go out there and step in them.
I'm about to buy my second pair.
Oh, look at you!
I'm about to buy my second pair.
Deion's it up, man.
I still wear my basketball shoes out there on the golf course.
we'll order some team ones. We've been playing in that Legends tournament for a long time. We might as well start getting team issue stuff together and start matching.
Yeah, you're gonna have to hit up Justin.
Yeah,
be like, go give me some golf stuff.
Appreciate it, JB.
All right, man.
No problem, man. Y'all be easy, man.
All right, man. Take care. Appreciate it.
Already bet. Have a good night.
Well, that was our very own college football Hall of Famer, Justin Blackmon, to join us, man. What a treat for you guys, Clint. Let's move on to some stuff that's happened this week that we haven't got a chance to talk about before we get out of here. Things like that infamous national football, college football championship that the Michigan Wolverines took home. What was your thoughts about the game?
Having a little time to process it now, looking back at the final score, 34-13, it certainly seemed closer than that score indicated to me. I thought, which is weird because the way the game started, I thought it was going to be a blowout. I thought Michigan was just going to absolutely dominate and went up 17-3. But it really just came down to, I think, the way Washington played. I think they played a little tight. I don't think Michael Penix played his best game, not even one of his 5 best games of the year. And you have to give credit to Michigan in that defense. Their defensive line, I thought, was not quite as good as Texas's, but I thought they played a lot better than Texas's did against this Washington offense. And, the big play just didn't seem to be there for Washington. The play on 4th and 7 that Penix has Odunze running wide open, misses him. There was a lot of false starts, right?
I'd say so. I don't mean to cut you off there, but I got to correct you on that. And I'm surprised that you say Penix missed him on that play because I thought that was on the wide receiver Odunze. I mean, he was clearly he was clearly wide open, but he was running towards the safety instead of running away from the safety where that route is supposed to go. I mean, did you see it in a different way, or what was your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I don't even know if that's the route because they busted so hard. I think he just saw space and ran to it. And I don't know if he was supposed to, because the way he ran the stem of that route at the beginning and he got by that guy, it was like he saw just green grass. So yeah, you're right. I mean, both of those guys, whoever messed up, it just is easy to say, just lob it out there and let him try to catch it. But the false starts, man, I mean, it in the first half especially, it just seemed like Washington continually shot themselves in the foot. You just didn't see the big plays down the field. And then the turnovers, I think that's really kind of when it got out of hand. He threw that pick and they returned it down to the 2-yard line. But credit to Michigan. They were the more physical team and they didn't make mistakes. And in a game like that, I think that's college kids are probably going to be a little tight if you're not used to being in that situation, a national championship. I thought J.J. McCarthy was pretty average. As he has been for the most part all year, in my opinion. But Blake Corum, absolute stud. And they made the plays that they had to. I thought they were well. Jim Harbaugh, he's getting up there now as far as top coaches in the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the true star, I mean, especially in the first half, was Edwards, number 7. I mean, I remember they said he came into the game with like 300 rushing yards. They were kind of disappointed in his performance throughout the season, and to open up the game with not 1 but 2, big time runs to go into the end zone, big yard like that.
He was out too. He was out. Man. He was gone.
Bro, he was moving. I'd watched a lot of him the year before, and I been impressed with his speed. It seemed like he put on some weight, and I don't know if that kind of hindered his performance, or they were just really feeding Blake because he was the the workhorse all season long. But when the moment was big and the lights were bright, number 7 came to show out, man, and he put Michigan with the big lead, and you got to give him credit for that, man. That was a big time performance on him. But on the opposite side of things, I kind of differ from your opinion, Clint. I don't think it was a situation where Michigan didn't play their best game or they made too many mistakes. I think they were just worn out, bro. I mean, this is a long season. Going 15-0 is a hard thing to do, and I think they didn't have the depth that Michigan did. I mean, you could see it. Michigan was running guys in and out in the secondary and the linebacking core and the defensive line. I mean, in the offense, they had tight ends, wide receivers. I mean, they were just running. They had, 2 quarterbacks. I mean, Orji got in and ran a pretty much more than half of a series on his own. So I feel like they had more depth. I think they were fresher throughout just as the season went on. And then you could tell, I mean, when injuries were coming into play in this game, it was the guys from Washington. You saw, Johnson, the running back, who was questionable all week long, go down first play of the game. You saw Jabbar Muhammad, one of the guys that former Oklahoma State Cowboy, go down during the game, then go back in. I think you just saw this Washington Huskies team just wear down from a long season.
Yeah, that's a great point too, because I noticed the same thing. It was like anytime somebody was hurt on the field, it was a Washington player. Yeah. And obviously, to your point, long season. Also, Michigan was just that physical with them. And the thing that I had heard about that defense, and I'd watched them, obviously, I watched the Ohio State game, watched them play Alabama last week, and it rang true last night, is how good of a tackling team they were. I mean, they just don't miss tackles. If they got near you, they made the tackle. But I thought it was not necessarily funny, but if I'm the backup running back for Washington, I mean, you almost have to enter your name in the portal. I mean, they're bringing out Dylan Johnson, which I get it. You want to let a guy like that who's carried the load, but he's hurt. And he came into the game hurt, and he gets hurt on the first play, and they continue to run him out there with one leg, just a bum wheel. And I'm just, the depth, to your point, just was not there for this team, and it showed up big last night.
That was my question. Watching him continuously go in and go out, and you get to hear the announcer talk about the speed from his runs being different from what they're seeing presently to what it was in the past, and how because of that, the linebackers from Michigan were able to float the ball faster, and those what would be 6-yard gains were turning into 2-yard gains. So I was just thinking, at what point is his 60% better than the second team's guys 100%? Like, when do we kind of put that? I know he wants to play. I know they were playing with a heavy heart because one of their coaches' father had passed away, and they wanted to play for him, and he wanted to tough it out and gut it out for him, and he earned the right to be on that field. But bruh, we got a national championship at hand right here. When does this guy's 100% better than Johnson's 60%? That's what the question that I was asking myself all game long.
Yeah, it's a great point. I think the turning point was, I believe his name was Will Nixon, and he was in on that fourth down. I believe it was 4th and 3 or 4, and they run like a rail route, him out of the backfield, and he sticks it on him, and he drops it. And I think at that point they were like, all right, man, we're just going to roll with Johnson and see what we get. And no, I think your point is well taken, that they were the worn down team, more physically beat up team. And obviously that's a long season, credit to Michigan, but it was entertaining for a long time. It was just, you were just on the edge of your seat thinking, all right, if Washington just could make one play, that they're going to tie up the game. And with that offense that they have, we kept thinking they were going to hit a long play and kind of tie it up. And then, they got worn down in that second half. They turned the ball over, and that was that. But again, credit to Michigan and the style of football that they play. Physical, hard-nosed, don't make mistakes. And a lot of times, if you look at the teams that win national championships, those are qualities that they have.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that. I mean, the physical presence in the game will always be there. And at the end of the day, the biggest, strongest, fastest, no matter what you draw up, is going to win. My question to you is kind of like the mentality of football and how things unfold and what you bring into a game. How much do you think everything that Michigan had to battle this year, with all the allegations and all the, the red tape and the scrutiny and everything, how much did that have to play into getting this win and coming together as a team and winning that national championship?
I think once they came down with the decision to suspend Harbaugh for just 3 games, and they didn't lose in that stretch or the game after, I think that they kind of put that in the rear view. I think Harbaugh is just a good enough coach, and he's a kind of a little off, that when he came back, he really had them thinking, it's us against the world. Everybody's against us. Use that as fuel continually, even though they're the favorite in every single game that they're in by Vegas lines. So, I think it's a credit to him and their coaching staff for kind of playing that up. I think it was a distraction, certainly, some of the games, week 10, week 11, when he was out. But once he came back on that sideline, I think they did a really good job of using that more so as motivation instead of as a distraction.
Yeah, man, that was a master class of not just going back to, I want to say it was the Penn State game when he first got, he first got put on the sidelines and taken away the headset, and how McCarthy just, tweet something out, bet, period. Like, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like you could read between the lines on that. You couldn't, but it wasn't anything that, you could tweet out and get in trouble for. It's like, bro, it was a smart move. And then the way the whole Michigan Wolverines program and alumni and everybody took that and ran with it. I felt like they galvanized around each other, and I think it helped these players even more kind of have less of distraction and pinpoint an enemy, like us against the world, Michigan against the world. It was almost like, it reminded me of what's that? The Miracle on Ice, that Olympic USA hockey team, and how he all these guys come together and they're all enemies, and then they meet one common enemy, which is their coach, and they all hate them together, and it brings them together. So they all had one thing to hate, and it was the NCAA and everybody who was going against them, and it just brought them tighter together. And I think as much as people don't want to admit it, or would probably look at me and say, nah, that's not true, I think that had a little bit to do with them, being able to win this national championship the way they did.
Yeah, I think it certainly put a chip on their shoulder where, otherwise it may not have been, because they were the team that was expected to win. And when you're a team that's that good and you're that talented, you need motivation like that week to week. We see teams every year. You get lulled to sleep thinking we just have to roll our helmet out there.
Yeah.
And I think they turned that, and Jim Harbaugh did a great job of turning that into, like you said, us against the world. And you're exactly right. I couldn't agree more. I think they used that to win the national championship.
Yeah. It's interesting how everything unfolded. It's going to be even more interesting to see how things unfold in the offseason for the national champions, Michigan. I mean, they maybe possibly having a coaching decision to make there, and maybe possibly, who knows, the NCAA could come down the line and, have more to say about what their program's done.
If you're Jim Harbaugh, do you ride off into the sunset and get back in the NFL? I mean, by all accounts, and maybe this is just me speaking, but he seems like an NFL type of guy. And with the way NCAA football is unfolding with transfer portals and NIL and stuff, do you think what would you do, I guess, if you're in those shoes and you've just won your alma mater national championship after, I think 50 years, he inherited a 500 team essentially, and wins it to him. If your heart's in the NFL, are you bailing for a good job?
I mean, I think you kind of have to. I mean, if you look at the way things are going in college football, like you're saying, I mean, all these older coaches and the coaches that have other options are taking their talents to the NFL, because recruiting is getting even more difficult with all these, transfer portals and deadlines, and it's just too much. It's a lot, and these guys are having to do a lot. And I think it's easier to just go over there, let a GM handle who's on the team, and you just go coach. So I think if you're Harbaugh, why not take this national championship right off into the sunset and go try to get that, Vince Lombardi trophy that eluded you for a long time in the NFL back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's coming on 10, 11 years when he faced his brother John in the Super Bowl. But those head coaches, it's so much easier. Obviously, money is not an issue for Michigan. It wouldn't be for his NFL job, but not having to worry about kids in class and kids, getting in trouble on campus. And, it's just, you're dealing with grown-ups, you're dealing with adults that are, probably a little bit better at decision-making, but there's also the side of it with the guys that have a bunch of money, getting paid to play. So just an interesting thought. A lot of good NFL jobs coming up too. So that'll be interesting to see what happens with him. And, it'll also be interesting to see what happens with our Oklahoma State Cowboys. We got some more announcements of guys returning since we've last talked to you guys.
Ooh, I see you with the transition. I see
you like that? That was professional kind of right there. I'm just, taking notes. I take notes on you every week.
Yeah, right. But yeah, so what's been going on? What's the latest down the pipelines with the transfer portal and some of the guys who've talked about some stuff since we've been gone?
I think the big two, Alan Bowman has announced that he got his waiver granted. We saw DJ McKinney obviously get in the portal. He's committed to Colorado, and then just recently Trey Rucker. So, having those guys back is obviously going to be great. Alan Bowman. It'll be interesting to see what happens in that quarterback room.
Yeah. Before we get out of here real quick, because we're running low on time, I wanted to get your thought process on the whole Alan Bowman getting an extra year to play at Oklahoma State real quick. I mean, seems like there were some people that were excited. There were some people that were indecisive. Some people that, didn't have any feelings towards it. So how did you feel about Bowman coming back to and being the quarterback at Oklahoma State one more year?
Two things. I think the most important thing is to keep the quarterback room intact. You want to keep Rangel. You want to keep Zane Flores, obviously. You don't want those guys to transfer if you decide to start Alan Bowman. But also the way the schedule starts up next year. You don't want to be a team that has all this talent coming back Ollie Gordon, offensive line, all these guys, and now all this momentum, and you start a guy that doesn't have much experience, and you lose to, you know, South Dakota State that's coming off a national championship, right? And then you got Arkansas week 2. I think it's going to help to have a veteran guy for those early games to get through that part of the season, because you can't have a year like we had this year when you've got that much talent coming back.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. I mean, he with everybody coming back and everybody, you know, like it seems like a lot of the starters are coming back to run it back. Why not bring back the quarterback who got it done for you the year before? He knows the offense. He's the veteran presence. I think it's going to set up for a good start to the season. Very good start.
Yeah. Just like Michigan, you know, that was something that Blake Corum talked about, is bringing those guys back. And before we get out of here, I do want to mention the big win wrestling had over, at the time, number 4, NC State on the road, led by All-Americans Dayton Fix and Dustin Plott. I watched some of it when I can, up to number 5 in the rankings, which is great from where they started. You know, I talked to some of the wrestling folks that know way more than me, and you know, it was not great coming into this year from last year. So to see them back up in the top 5 where they belong is awesome.
Yeah, very, very good job. Hopefully they continue to climb up the ranks and do us proud over there. But before we get out of here, Clint, you got any more kind words for the people?
You know, as always, if you're still listening at this point, we really appreciate it. Thank you for riding along with us on this journey. And as always, we are very grateful for you listening to us.
Yes. So, guys, make sure, like I say every week, tune into OSU Max for all your information with Oklahoma State and the athletic program. And remember to tune in to the Old Poke Show every week with me and Clint. And like I always say every week, once again, this is the Old Poke Show. Stay loyal and true.
Go Pokes.